So for my disability simulation, I had a right congenital hand amputation, and so for that I just wore this sock over my right hand, like so. It up, and just kept my hand in a fist, like this. And so for this experience was overall sort of frustrating, due to not being able to use my dominant hand. Considering the circumstances, I wasn't able to be on campus for any of this, so I've been completing it. Actually, I've been in South Carolina, so I haven't been home either, which also gave me access to some places that I wouldn't usually go before. And so instead of at campus, I've been at home, and I didn't need to use any durable medical equipment for mobility. I was able to walk everywhere or just ride in the car to go to different places. And so for ADL performance, this was something I greatly struggled with because of using my right hand to dress, to bathe, to eat. Just every routine in my normal day I use my right hand for, so it made everything more challenging. And so in community-based activities, I wasn't able to go into the community that often, but I was able to go to the grocery store, and that was also very difficult. When there was carts, it made it easier because I could just push a cart with one hand and put all of the groceries in a cart. And then I say the hardest part for that was checking out and getting my card and everything with my one hand, having to hold my wallet in my arm and then get it out with my left hand. And with going to the grocery store came psychosocial experiences, and that was challenging because it just gave me anxiety to have to go to the grocery store with one hand. Were people gonna look at me funny? Or I actually wore I had a jacket on, so you couldn't see the sleeve. All you could see was just the top of the sock hanging out. But even walking into the grocery store, the first two people I saw already looked at me, which was weird. But I also was kind of thinking when I was in there, I was kind of assuming that everyone was looking at me when they really weren't. So the psychosocial experience kind of get to your head more because you're overthinking it and you're thinking about it more, and you just feel like everyone's watching you when really nobody actually notices. For meal preparation, that was very difficult because I wasn't able to chop anything up because I couldn't hold something with I couldn't chop with my dominant hand, and then I couldn't hold the thing in place with my other hand. So that I needed assistance for, and I could stir with one hand and move things around with one hand in the pans and things, and put things in the oven. Most difficulty for the meal prep came with just actually preparing the meal, chopping and stuff like that. So the model that my group got assigned was ecology of human performance, and I did some research on that, just looking up more about what it is, and from what I read, it mostly goes in with effect and context, and what I got from that was that it's basically a person's own personal lens of their world and how their skills and abilities affect their performance. So I would say for me at least, if I had this disability from birth, it would come with, I grew up a lot around sports, so that would go into play with my human performance because it would affect the way that I play sports. But growing up, I'm sure I could adapt to that, and I would learn in my own way. And with that, being more athletic, I feel like I had more skills and abilities to kind of adapt to ways that I did things with this disability. I was just able to maneuver things more, and with ADLs and stuff, I was just able to perform a little better having that sort of background. And that's what I kind of get from Ecology of Human Performance. It's kind of someone's own background and their view of the world that and their own environmental cues that go into their participation with things. So for the personal reflective questions, for the first question I did, what did you learn from this experience and how will it help you be a better clinician? So by simply not using one hand, it made every task much harder. And this has shown me that all the people that are missing and like a hand or any limb for that matter have to adapt their whole life and world around that, basically, whether it's from birth or whether they get it in the middle of their life or whenever. Because I realized that it takes a lot longer to learn how to do things that often come naturally to most people. So just like basic ADL performance, like I think people with this disability would have to learn it at a much slower pace and have to use adaptive things to learn the process of doing things, and that would just take longer in general than someone who doesn't have this disability that can just do it like without even thinking. So this gave me insight into potential clients' lives with this disability, and as a clinician showed me more of what they're really feeling like and what to really focus on for what they want their goals to be. Like that was the main thing also I saw for being a better clinician, would just be focusing on what they want to do, because this is their disability that they have to live with every day. So I just think it'd be really important to focus on what they want to do. And so for the second part, I chose question 3. So what did you learn about ADL/IADL process throughout your 48-hour disability simulation, and how does it differ from your baseline? Well, it greatly differed from my baseline because my baseline was much higher than how I was performing. It made simple tasks such as showering and getting dressed, making meals, cleaning, all of that so much harder. It made my baseline go way down, considering I live my life completely independently every day, and with this I just struggled like putting my pants on or my shirt on or showering. I needed assistance washing dishes and cooking a meal, and it was truly eye-opening because it really showed how many things I take for granted. So part 2, did you experience empathy and or sympathy during your disability simulation? How did it affect your self-esteem? So yeah, I experienced both of these. It made me realize how much I take for granted, even if it's just going to the grocery store without having to worry about being looked at funny or stared at, and that lowers your self-esteem a lot, because going from not being able to do things to not things that you can normally do, and that's very frustrating. And even things that even people aren't around for, like I tried to take the cap off of my water bottle and completely spilled it all over the place, and it just frustrated the heck out of me because it's just something so simple that could just trigger so much frustration because it's like so many things repeatedly. So for question 6, it said, what was most challenging for you during the 48-hour disability simulation, and how will that help you empathize with your future clients? The most challenging thing for me was completing ADLs and IADL routines. So doing the simple things every day that I usually do without thinking all of a sudden became super challenging, and it took extra time out of my day. And this will also help me see things from my future clients' point of view, making it easier for me to focus on their goals and the things that they want to achieve. So this also gave me insight to the bare minimum struggles of what these people are going through with this sort of disability, so it helped me be able to sympathize with my future clients more. For question 10, what specific items did you choose to make for your meal? Please provide a reflection on the overall process during the planning, purchasing, making, and eating of your meal. Include any adaptive equipment you used or wished you had for the completion of this activity. So my meal consisted of, we baked chicken, potatoes, and sauteing green beans. And at the store, I was able to reach things and grab each item I needed to place it in the basket. I did not use any adaptive equipment. I didn't feel like it was necessary. While preparing the meal, I was able to do everything with one hand. It just took an extra amount of time. However, like I said before, it was hard to be able to cut the potatoes and things. Here I thought maybe a rocker knife would be beneficial, and I had, it was beneficial having assistance from a partner. So for question 11, I talked about my group theory. It was pick another theory and compare and contrast that theory with yours. So like for the human performance theory, focused on context and task performance and therapeutic intervention in regards to my client. And then I compared it to MOHO because it focuses on with MOHO, it focuses on volition, habituation, and performance. Both models highlight aspects of human performance and occupation, but with MOHO, it describes how people modify occupational day-to-day roles in interaction with the environment, where ecology of human performance highlights someone's experience with his or her like sensory, motor, cognition, and psychological skills and abilities. For my own personal theory, I was given motor learning theory. During my simulation, I wonder if someone with my condition would also have sensory issues with that. Like I would wonder if their sensation was impacted in that residual limb. But for motor learning, like I was saying before, I was thinking that it might take someone longer to develop the motor learning process in their mind of how to do certain tasks day to day, and that's how I think an occupational therapist would kind of use that theory to apply it to this sort of disability with motor learning, kind of like training your mind to do certain tasks in a way in which someone with this disability would be able to do it, and kind of learn that step-by-step process in a certain way that in which that individual could be successful. So for my last question, what would make this assignment even better for students in the future? I thought it overall was a good assignment. It really shows students what life is like for someone with a disability, even if it's only for 48 hours. I think that it gives you a bare minimum insight, and I don't think there's much you could do to make it better because it covers all the important aspects of typical daily life and how someone with a disability is affected by that. So, thank you.